Hi, my name is Deanna Deacon, and I'm going to share with you a story that has changed my life. And it occurred just this past weekend at Mountain Spirit Festival at Sun Peaks in British Columbia, Canada. I was scheduled to give a talk called a Soul Talk, which is similar to a TED Talk. About 20 minutes, me on stage with a microphone, sharing my wisdom, my gifts, my offerings, whatever it might be, to the audience of around 70 to 100 people. I gave a talk like this last year, and in my eyes, gave a really good talk, but I didn't feel satisfied afterwards. I gave this talk, shared everything that I wanted to share, and in the end felt almost empty, like there was something missing, something that I didn't get. So this year I thought, okay, I'm going to make it really good. I'm really going to hone in on what I can offer to these individuals in the audience, how I can teach them something, how I can help them understand something and inspire them. The title of my talk was Inspired Self. So leading up to this experience, I was really surprised because I didn't have any ideas flowing through. Normally, I'm a very creative individual. I wait for some sort of intuitive divine guidance to help guide me along what it is that I'm going to share, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to create. And it wasn't coming. Nothing was coming. And so I would force myself to sit down or go for a walk or do the things that I would do when creative juices would start flowing. And I'd get little tidbits of what I wanted to say, but nothing that felt real, nothing that felt like, yes, this is it. So finally, the event arrived. I had my talk lined up. I had what I was going to say for my intro. I had this really great outfit that I was going to wear, and I was going to incorporate that into my talk for a little bit of like a shock factor. I had this amazing story from when I lived in New Zealand of how I thought my life was going to end and how this really brought about this inspiration in my life, and then a really strong closing, something that was going to like solidify what I was teaching these individuals. So I felt pretty confident about it. And then the day of the talk arrived. And at Mountain Spirit Festival, there's a whole bunch of workshops with yoga and speakers and interactions and all fun things happening all weekend. So I decided to go to a workshop. It was all about your intuition. Now, I'm quite versed on my intuition, but I thought I'd go and just, see if there's something there that I hadn't received before. As I was sitting there in the beginning of the talk, this woman asked us, ask your soul a question. And by the end of this workshop, you'll have your answer. I thought, oh, okay, sure. So while I was at Mountain Spirit Festival, my body was showing up in these very physical, bizarre ways. I had a lot of physical ailments. A lot of things were occurring, like my digestion was really off. I had a sore throat out of nowhere. I was exhausted and not really very happy. I was actually kind of crabby and unhappy to be there, which is bizarre because we were in the top of the mountains at a mountaintop resort at this amazing yoga and spirituality festival. I should have been incredibly happy, but I wasn't. So I asked my soul, why are these physical ailments showing up? Why am I in this mental space? What's going on? What am I missing? Throughout the talk, I kept getting these intuitive hits of, don't do your talk. Do not do it the way you have it planned. Do not share the stories that you have planned to share. And I kept saying, well, what am I supposed to do then? Do I just not do a talk? Do I just bow out and not do it? And then it came through as stand on stage in front of the audience with the microphone with nothing prepared. And this thought came over me of how could I do that? No, there's absolutely no way I can do that. Not being prepared, not knowing what's going to come out of my mouth. That's terrifying. For those of you who haven't done very much public speaking, I'm sure you're thinking, are you kidding me? But every time I thought about the fact of not following through with what I had decided to speak about and just going up there and being in my essence and being in my presence with those individuals, the pain started to subside. And even though I was terrified, I had this sense of relief. So time kept going on. This workshop continued, and I kept asking myself, are you sure? Is this really what I'm supposed to do? Is this my next step? And the answer was yes. And so I did. I stood in front of 70 human beings with a microphone in my hand on stage with not a single clue what I was going to say. I literally stood there and I breathed with them. And I connected with them and I asked intuitively, what do you need to hear? Please allow the words that I speak to be of service to someone. And I remember speaking that out loud. There is someone in this audience that needs to hear what I have to say today. Please receive it. Please hear me. Please accept this in. And I had women in the audience crying because it was connecting into their heart. It was connecting into their soul because I wasn't there to teach them something. I wasn't there to give them my wisdom or offer something that they could use to take forward. I was simply there to exist. I was there to accept them. I was there to acknowledge them. I was there to be with them. To me, it was so deeply, incredibly important for me to drop into the sense of presence as opposed to the sense of ego of I have so much to share and offer and teach you. And when I sat down from my talk after receiving an amazing standing ovation, the only thought that went through my head was, Deanna, I am proud of you. Since that moment, my life has just unfolded in the most miraculous, beautiful ways. People are flocking to me. Clients are just showing up at my door, paying in full for my programs. I've received so much abundance in so many different ways, financially, with time, with support, with love, with acceptance. And ultimately, it all comes down to the fact that I listened to my own intuition. And I did something that was terrifying, but at the same time felt so unbelievably right. I have a gift. I have a gift of being able to speak words that help someone find clarity within themselves. I can speak words that speak to them on a deeper level than word to word. It's more of a soul-to-soul connection. And I'm learning how to work with this gift. I'm learning how to sink into it and surrender into it and just be with it. And it's terrifying and scary, even for me to say this to you. I'm an empath. I feel energy. I can hear and read and see things for other people. That's scary to say, but it's exciting. And it's so important for me to voice this to you and for me to share this with you. Because if I'm not speaking my truth, then are you able to speak your truth? We all need to make a stand for each other by showing up in our true essence. And when we do that, that is when we can all rise up together. I want to say thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for holding the space for me to be able to share who I am and the experience that I'm having in this amazing human life. I hope that you can find the essence within you and find ways to challenge yourself in a way that brings about so much joy, abundance, relief, and happiness, just like I'm experiencing right now. Namaste.